Welcome back to the channel, friends and fellow screen-staring humans. My name is not Ian Sands, but I have learned a thing or two about editing, and today we are going to nerd out on something that will genuinely level up your motion: keyframes. With so many people stuck inside over the last few years, the demand for animation skills has skyrocketed, which is perfect because I am here to help you get those results faster and cleaner. Before we dive into the heavy stuff, there is a community Discord in the description where editors swap tips and I drop my tutorials early. Please wash your hands, stay safe, and grab your favorite beverage because it is time to open your NLE and start talking about keyframes like adults. Think of keyframes as drop pins on a map. You set a starting point, you set an ending point, and the software handles the travel time. You can add little pit stops if you want more control, but fundamentally it is just about managing the start, the end, and the speed of your motion. In After Effects, hit P for position, S for scale, R for rotation, and T for opacity so you can quickly access the properties you need. Pro tip: change your keyboard shortcuts so you do not end up struggling with complex finger combinations like a caveman. I personally set Alt-S for scale, Alt+R for rotation, Alt+P for position, and Alt-T for opacity, which saves both time and wrist pain. Now let us set a keyframe. Select a layer, press Alt-S, and adjust a value to drop your first pin on the timeline. Time travels along the timeline, so you just move your playhead, change the value again, and the software generates the second keyframe for you. The animation then automatically interpolates between those pins exactly like your map app gives you directions. There are three main keyframe types you need to know: linear, Bezier, and hold. Linear is robotic and boring because it moves at a constant speed, while hold is basically stop motion that jumps instantly. Bezier is where the real magic happens, as it uses curves to create smooth, organic motion for your project. Bezier is named after Pierre Bezier, who used these curves to design car bodies in the 1960s, but for us it just means organic transitions. Don't panic when you hear terms like easy ease or auto Bezier. They are just different flavors of curve control. Easy ease, or F9 in After Effects, is the fastest way to get a nice S-shaped transition that feels natural. If you want full sculpting control, you must open the graph editor and manually adjust the handles. That is the secret spot where your animations go from average to absolutely delightful. Before we get into sculpting curves, here is a workflow tip I swear by: start at the end. Set your final pose or value first, then animate backwards, because if you know where the scene needs to land, the rest is just creative filler. It is like editing a story in reverse. You already know the punchline, so the build-up only serves that final payoff. Now let us talk about why curves matter, specifically spatial logic in 2 dimensions. X for left, right, and Y for up, down. When you add a camera or a Z-axis, you introduce depth, but remember that each axis is entirely independent. In After Effects, right-click position and choose separate dimensions to get independent control over X and Y. This is a total game changer when you want to fine-tune a curve without accidentally warping another axis. Easing is the whole reason curves exist, so remember the mantra: ease out of the gate and ease into the finish line. Ease out lets something start slow and accelerate, while ease in starts fast and decelerates toward the end. An S-curve combines both, giving you a slow start, a snappy middle, and a smooth, elegant finish. You get much more life in your animations when you play with these easing values rather than using straight linear motion. Let us try a practical demo. Animate a square moving from left to right, separate the dimensions, and hit F9 to easy ease. When you open the graph editor, you will see that S-curve, and now you can drag the handles to sculpt the acceleration. Pull the left handle to flatten the start if you want a fast start, or pull the right to favor a slow finish. Do not be afraid to exaggerate these motions because a little cartoonish easing often reads better at smaller scales. You use hold keyframes for sudden jumps or stop motion aesthetics, but you should use Bezier for pretty much everything else. If you are trying to sell your motion as natural or organic, Bezier curves are your best friend. A quick note on timing. Remember that your easing handles control both the speed and the acceleration of the object. Pull a handle farther away and the animation spends more time in that acceleration zone, creating personality. That is how you craft motion that feels snappy, elastic, sluggish, or mechanical, all just by adjusting curves. Alright, here is a small reality check. You could spend forever tweaking curves in After Effects, which is fine if you have all day, but if you are making long-form tutorials or live streams and want to pump out short clips for socials, you need a workflow hack. This is exactly where tools like Bezier come into the picture to save your sanity. I have tried plenty of auto-editing tools, but many of them either miss the context or force you to manually drag everything into multiple platforms. Bezier, however, automatically finds the viral parts of your long videos, including highlights, punchlines, and reaction moments. It is not perfect for complex high-end edits, but for repurposing tutorials and interviews into snackable content, it saves massive amounts of time. The auto schedule feature is pure gold, as you can set your posting frequency and it cues the clips based on that cadence. No more spreadsheet chaos or late-night manual uploads to your social accounts. And the content calendar? It is a total sanity saver that lets you preview live posts, rearrange clips, and tweak captions. Compare that to other tools that only focus on trimming or scheduling. Bezier bundles discovery, scheduling, and a calendar into one workflow. It is priced reasonably for creators, which means you get more time to refine curves in your animations instead of juggling export settings. Back to animation. When you separate dimensions and focus on one curve at a time, your motion reads so much cleaner. When you work backwards from the endpoint, you avoid the common mistake of over-animating random entrances that do not land well. And when you finally master easing, your work stops looking like a stiff PowerPoint presentation and starts looking like actual motion design. So before you go animate your life away, make sure you set sensible keyboard shortcuts and always start from the final pose. Always remember your curves, use the graph editor, and keep your axes separated for maximum precision. If you are creating tutorial videos, use a workflow that does not suck by automating the clip creation process. Record your long-form content, animate in AE, and let tools like Bezier find the magic moments to keep your social calendar full. I have seen creators go from posting once a week to daily just by letting smart tools do the heavy lifting for them. Thanks for sticking with me through this entire lecture. I get weirdly passionate about this stuff. Big thanks for watching, for staying safe, for washing your hands, and for subscribing if you like weekly editing breakdowns. Join the Discord in the description if you want to nerd out with other editors, and check out Bezier if you want a smarter way to repurpose your content. Stay inside, keep animating, and I will see you in the next one.